Welcome back, everyone, to the Black Brain Trust. This is episode 126. I'm here with my co-facilitator, Lionel.
Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing? How you doing today, Mike?
I'm good, brother. Yourself?
I am well. Thanks for asking.
All right. For those of you who want to follow along, the docket is in the description beneath the video, and we will get started. So, first video item on the docket is from CNET. Uber's air taxi revealed at CES 2019. So this quadcopter based vehicle is actually battery powered. Um, how how I see this integrating into a society is it's rather more like a limo more than a taxi to me, um, because it's a luxury to actually get around in a vehicle like this, right? So you're not a taxi to me is something that you go from point A to point B. Um, Using a drone, or not a drone, but a quadcopter based vehicle. It doesn't mean you're going from point A to point B. That means you're going over a considerable long distance over some sort of terrain that was not easily traversable by foot. So I do think this is a great invention. Um, Obviously, they're going live with this. I think mid 2020, and the way how I see it is that it's a step in the right direction. What do you think about this, Lionel?
It will surprise a lot of people. It will throw a lot of people off guard. It will throw the everyday person. Well, everyday person will look at this and say, "Wow, what are they doing?" Imagine the baby boomers and even the generation that was before the baby boomers that was still alive, and they stick around and see this. Imagine that type of transitional. There were technological transition to now you have essentially flying cars. So the the Bell, I think it was the Bell taxi. It has these six propellers. Um, it it has a battery charge. I think no, I got it mixed. Top speed of 150 miles per hour and a distance of 150 miles. It says it can seat four people, including the passenger, including the pilot. It's supposed to be autonomous. After a while, in the beginning, it's going to have pilots, but after a while, it's going to switch to autonomous. And I know, remember the Back to the Future, where it said, well, Marty McFly went to the future, and it was like 2018 or 2015, and flying cars is everywhere. And when that date came, everybody was saying on Twitter, where's my flying car? Such and such. Well, it's a couple of years off, but it's coming.
Hmm.
And I know the thing would be, oh, what if it fall from the sky? What if this? What if that? Those are regulations these companies that's going to be building this have to get through, have to get passed, be approved of. But again, like you said, they want this to come by 2020, mid 2020 at the latest. I'm sure they're gonna shoot for 2021. This is amazing, man. This, and I agree with you. It in the beginning it may not be an everyday taxi where people just hop in and go to point A, point B. It'll be something of luxury, but still just to have that capability, that option of getting into this, avoiding all that traffic. Because some people take a helicopter to the airport. They go to a helicopter base, take a helicopter to the airport because it's quicker. It depends on where they are. But this, wow, this is the future's knocking on the door.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, Dubai has a some form of drone development for this. Um,
Hmm.
so they have a blockchain for drones, if that makes any sense. They started establishing this, I think maybe about a year or maybe 2 years ago. I know in China they already have a whole entire city of space allocated for these sort of vehicles. So it's really dependent upon your metropolitan area, right? So if you have a city like, let's say Chicago, for instance, or even New York, there's not a whole lot of space, for a
Yeah,
vehicle like this to get around, right? I
right,
mean, yeah, you have a very tight city, but where is it going, right? These side streets, you barely can get cars down the side streets, let alone a vehicle, air vehicle like this, right? So there's a lot of there's a lot of research that needs to be done in America on where the usage of this would be, and and who's going to be the customer base.
hmm and I agree with you. You're gonna, and especially in America, you're gonna have to have designated areas where these things can fly to, a drop off and pick up at. Like you in Boston, this is definitely not going to get in them in those streets because those streets were first designed when there were horse and buggy carriages around. So
Mhm.
they didn't foresee this 300 years in the future. And now that I'm hearing you say that, and I'm saying it, America can quickly become an antiquated. Well, American cities can quickly become antiquated because of the years and decades they were designed. The design is set, the street grids are set, and they're small. But with these technologies of the future, you'll need a little bit more space to fit these things in, and is in some areas of America it's just not there.
Yeah, so you would have to utilize all the high rises and things like that. I know in Boston we do have about maybe 7 buildings in the main city that can allow for helicopters to land on top of. So they have that portion. I mean, obviously down for infrastructure purposes, but overall, like those buildings are in financial high income areas. They're not in low income areas.
Hmm.
So what's going to happen is you're going to lose a certain demographic to a more technological divide, where they're left walking, and the people who can afford it are the ones who are going to be taking the ride in these helicopters. So,
Yeah, that sounds like the movies where futuristic movies where you have that even more clear divide of upper class, lower class, or the wealthy and the non-wealthy, because the wealthier are able to live in neighborhoods that have these type of technologies built in them that service them, and the not so wealthy have not those type of technologies that serve them.
mhm. Yeah, and it'll be less about race and more about class,
Yeah,
hard class. So yeah. I can see it being used in places like Africa. You go from one village to another. Um,
yeah,
you go from one. I mean, there's so many countries that have interlocking borders, like Zimbabwe and Botswana and um, Mozambique and so on and so forth. It'll be easy to go from one place to another because that's Africa's main problem is that there's a transportation deficit. Um, Not enough. They don't have enough bullet trains. Um, Not enough airlines, right, to take people back and forth. Um, you know, Busing and things like that. Like in the United States, you can get on a Chinese $10 bus and go from Boston to New York It might take you about 3.5, 4 hours, but still, it's $10, right? So the cost of
Mhm.
transportation here is a lot more different than in somewhere like Africa, where they have the continent just has this transportation deficit that is impacting them. Something like this would actually help Africa, especially if it's autonomous, right? So, and it has to be bigger. It has to be much bigger than what it is. It needs to be able to hold at least 50 people in order for it to be profitable.
Yeah, because out there it's nothing but space. It's more spacious
Yeah.
than here, and they're able to build up their infrastructure around new technologies.
Hmm. Yeah. Let's go to the next article. All right. This next one is from TheVerge.com. Whirlpool's smart oven identifies your food and lets you watch it cook in real time via internal camera. Home appliance giant Whirlpool has unveiled a new countertop oven that uses built-in camera and object recognition to identify the food inside it, and set the temperature and cooking time accordingly. The smart countertop oven, released by the corporation's sub-brand W Labs, is similar in functionality to the June oven, but $200 more expensive with a sticker price of $799. Both of these devices promise to take some of the thinking out of cooking, but with tech like this, proof is very much in the pudding. Will the algorithms recognize your food, and will they pick the right cooking settings? It's hard to say without testing. Whirlpool doesn't share exactly how many types of food its algorithm can recognize, but it does say they are accurate enough to tell the difference between frozen and thawed items. We we did a hangout maybe back in December where in Africa they had, these people in Kenya. They were giving them jobs to work on the computer, entry level jobs working on the computer, and so they can identify items for autonomous vehicles, right? Street
Mm.
signs and so on and so forth. I can almost guarantee you that that's what happened here, right? So they had all these images of a hot dog and pizza and things like that. For the camera and the AI technology.
I remember that. I remember that they spent hours among hours in front of a screen
Hmm.
outlining images, and I will have to agree with you. This technology is, I would have to say, it's borderline novelty, but it has its place in with people who are either don't know how to cook or learn how to cook, or even are timid when in terms of cooking. They don't have that sixth sense to cook, and this helps them out. Even the people that are busy, forget, you leave something in the oven and that's burned. But I'll say it has its place. I don't think it's, as of right now, people are going to go out and widely buy this in mass. But it has its place. It has its niche place.
Yeah, people may not go out and buy it, but if you're a hotel or something like that, or you're trying to run an Airbnb, something to that effect, um, this probably would be a part of your convenience package.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Hmm. I don't think it's so much that people don't know how to cook, but more about who has the latest gadget, right? Before, back in the day, I remember when flat screens first came out. The wall-based flat screens first came out. People were still holding on to these cube tube-based TVs. These Sony Trinitons and your
Uh,
RCA's and your Magnavox, right? And it was like, oh well, we don't really need that. Who needs that? Flat screen TV. And it cost like 3 grand, 4 grand for a flat screen TV back then. That was unheard. That was unheard of to drop that kind of money on a TV, right? You just went down to Sears, who's now out of business, and and you kind of just buy whatever tube-based TV you can get your hands on because it was affordable. But once they became affordable, once the flat screens became affordable, then um, there was widespread adoption. But that took quite a few years. So
Yeah, keep those RCA big floor model TVs. I
oh yeah,
remember those.
oh yeah, yeah. It was a lot of those projection TVs.
Hmm.
Yeah, a lot of people thought they was living big time with those projection TVs. And I'm like, you can't see anything on here. This is like,
Right, and I don't mean to get off topic, but they had the whole setup, the tower speakers on the side of, and they had the whole get up with the receivers and the tape deck and the CD player, all that electronic stuff up against the wall, taking up either the whole wall or a good portion of the wall. Now you got a fraction of that.
hmm all right, let's move on to the next article. All right, this one is from The Verge again. Samsung's new fridge will ping your phone if you leave the door open. Samsung's latest smart fridge is more proactive than what you might be used to. The company says it will troubleshoot issues and notify you via SmartThings app. The new Samsung Family Hub 4.0 refrigerator will give you a smoother interface to use that builds on previous generation app improvements. You can still you can still head to the grocery store and check if your fridge has milk, just like before. But now the fridge can also let you know if you've left the door open. Samsung says it will make the fridge into an intelligent home assistant (IoT) and less of a simple home appliance. There, there's a feature called the personalized family board that will let users add and customize their activities and interests. Meanwhile, Samsung also redesigned the home screen of the fridge's display to be more functional and easy to use. Last year, Samsung added Bix, Bixby's full capabilities to its fam, Family Hub Family Hub smart fridge. This year, it says Bixby has been enhanced, tweaking voice commands to be more conversational and interactive by including more natural language. So I find it interesting that they want to talk about. Oh well, it will send you a message if the door is if the door is open. Okay, you sent me a message. Well, who's going to close it now?
I didn't think of that.
Unless the door automatically closes, what's the point of telling me that it's open?
Yeah, unless because they got the technology with car doors. You don't have to close it all the way; it'll close itself. That's a good
Some,
point.
some do. Um, like if your passenger, if your driver's side door is open, it's not going to close.
Now, what I do like about this is, I think it's this one. If you at the grocery store and you forget if you had this item or not, you can actually the refrigerator will scan the items and tell you yes you have it or no you have it. Now they didn't say for instance milk, for example milk. I forgot that I have any milk, and the refrigerator said yes you have milk, but how much milk I got and when's the expiration date? Those little that type of information, further information is important. But I like the concept of person forgetting and they want to travel way back home just to see and or you don't want to not get it. This even though it's like the last article, I see that having a smart refrigerator is more um, can can be used more than having a smart microwave.
Yeah, to a certain extent. To a certain extent, if the microwave and the convection oven is actually connected over a network, then that can determine whether or not you meal prep, right? So if you meal prep, that might allow the oven to preheat itself.
Right, right. Agree.
And the same thing for the fridge. Like to me, if the fridge went out and discovered that there was a cheaper price of milk or a cheaper price of goods at some other place, within your radius, and then it pre-ordered it, then that to me that's a real personal assistant. But if you're just telling me that I'm low on milk, like I'm not that forgetful. Like I don't need that kind of help.
Or what about this? I know these deliveries. Well, let's say pre-drone delivery. Let's say, hey, such as having a sale. Instead of you getting those circulars in the mail every and it clutter up your mailbox. Say the refrigerator say, I notice every so if it has AI in it, I notice every so often you get milk. So it's around that time, and I noticed that what I found at such and such store is this is where you get the milk for cheap, and this is the route. It shoots a you know mapping to your phone,
Mhm.
or now that we have these future drone delivery say, well, you need some milk and you need such and such other things, it'll it'll purchase it, and next thing you know, it'll send you a text to your phone saying, "Hey, your delivery be here soon. Grocery will be here soon."
Mhm. I think to a certain extent, um, whether or not your milk is low, to me would be irrelevant. I would be more concerned if the milk was going to expire. I don't
Yeah,
want to. Yeah, I don't want stale milk in my fridge. Especially if you have kids. You don't want them drinking from the bottle. I want somebody to send me a text that Leroy drank from the bottle, so he put it back in
Leroy,
the fridge. Hey, Sean.
Tyrone. Yeah,
he he drank from the bottle and he left one drop left in there and put it back in, and
and, and wait a minute, and not only that, he backwashed.
yeah.
But you know what? Yeah, that I agree with that level of assistance is needed. Instead of it takes the guesswork out.
Hmm. Because there's times when like I don't drink milk, but w- when I had almond milk, um, I've left that in there for a month and never even thought about it, but it was still good.
Hmm.
But I never thought to look at the milk because I don't drink it. I only had it because I was bulking because I was working out. But things like that, I don't look at that kind of milk because I'm not accustomed to drinking it. So
Mm.
um, I think if the smartwatch, if it was an Apple Watch or something like that, can also connect it to my fridge, um, notice that I burn so many calories. So this is the type of food that I should be eating, because of the kind of pace that I was working at, or I was walking at, or I was having, what kind of day I was having throughout the day, how many calories I burned, how many calories are available in my fridge, based on the amount of items that's in my fridge, and whether or
Yeah.
not I need to go out and actually pick up more items. That to me, that's intelligence.
Hmm.
That's machine learning.
It's almost like having, because right now people may call a person at home, their kids, and say, "Well, check the refrigerator. If I have this, I'm at the grocery store right now." That's it. It has to be on that level where you can. Not only does it send you messages on its own, but you can interact with it and say, "Hey, fridge, do I have such and such milk, and how much?"
Mm-hmm.
And what about this? What if it's so efficient and sending you messages, hey, you're low on this, low on that people, you get so much notices where people just turn the stuff off. That over um that over information. That could be also a thing also.
Yeah, I get that with my with my smart cameras. So every time somebody walks into the yard or every time a car comes down the street, it kind of alerts me. So I was getting 100 messages an hour, so I was like, I got to turn this shit off. I gotta turn this off because it's crazy.
It's like, damn, what now? It's like, come on, stop it. You know,
I want to know, but I don't want to know that a car came down the street. That doesn't give me enough significant information. I need something
yeah,
that's more substantial. Did somebody come into my yard? I'm more worried about that. The funny thing is, when somebody does come in my yard, it doesn't even tell me.
right. So, and I trust me, I understand what you're saying. It's like it's too much information, too much, and at a certain point, you just don't care no more.
Mhm. All right, let's get to the next one. All right, this one's from Engadget.com. Behind the wheel of Daimler's upcoming electric trucks, EV torque is for more than just parking, making cars go fast. Daimler has been very vocal. Daimler has been very vocal that it's moving to electrify its trucks. From short to medium haul delivery vehicles to school buses, the company is making no bones that its future lies in EVs. At CES, the partner company of Mercedes-Benz, Fuso, along with Freightliner and Thomas Built Buses, gave Engadget the opportunity to drive the Freightliner EM2 electric delivery truck on the closed track. It's not the same as taking a vehicle like this in an open road, but I'm not really a delivery driver by trade, so maybe keeping me away from the general public area is a good idea. While the drive was short, it did showcase the capabilities of a vehicle that runs quietly and doesn't spew junk into the air. Like passenger EVs, the acceleration was smooth and the EM2 had plenty of torque that it needed for a delivery vehicle. Wow. Behind the wheel, most of the knobs, buttons, and features that an actual delivery driver would expect are there. The pilot program with partner Penske will be used to inform the automaker about anything that's missing, or how it should adjust the EM2 when it hits the market in 2 years. 2 years. This is what they're talking about. That process is also a part of Daimler's development of its large Class 8 E Cascadia semi truck. While I was unable to actually drive the vehicle, I did get a ride along. Like the EM2, the acceleration was smooth with a trailer carrying a full load, far smoother than regular Cascadia that I drove about 30 minutes earlier that wasn't dragging the trailer behind it. Hmm. What do you think about this, Lino?
Not only Tesla getting into the electric truck industry, they also said another company, Nikola.
Who?
I think it was another company that said it was called Nikola at the end of the end of this one. It was something I read, but also Daimler is getting into the electrical trucking business. So per this guy's ride, he said he's not a delivery person. He don't do trucks, because I'm pretty sure when you get into a truck, you have a preconceived thought. Well, this is it's going to be a little rough, but he said it was pretty smooth.
Yeah, Daimler is actually a part of Mercedes, so keep that in mind.
Hmm. I know other times in the past we talked about trucking. I know MOT is a trucker, and he brought up a few points where to implement this because of the things he brought forth. But people are still pushing forward. They're still finding ways to put these things on the road. And like I said, per the article, they are looking to put these the delivery trucks and the 18 wheelers, the bigger trucks, I would say, on the road in 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years is rapidly fast because now you're talking about, well, where's the charging infrastructure, right? So how do you charge a vehicle of that mass? I mean, it's one thing to charge up a Tesla or a Nissan Leaf, but it's another thing to charge up an 18 wheeler, right? So I'd be interested to know how um, what kind of infrastructure they plan on putting in place for a vehicle like this. I mean, where is it going to be applied to, right? So if most truckers, pull over at certain types of gas stations on the highway, but from what I've seen recently, those gas stations are not set up to handle, you know, eight or so, tractor trailers that are electric for that reason. And it takes a while to convert infrastructure over. It's not easy, right? You're talking about shutting down a potential gas station for a certain amount of time to add new electric charging. And then you
Mm.
take into consideration that when you think about the amount of time it takes to charge a Tesla, it could take maybe 30 minutes on a supercharger. But that's just a car. But when you're talking about a tractor trailer, now you're talking about X amount of time, X amount of hours that it could take to fill up a truck. A truck needs to get going to its next destination because it's on a schedule.
And those drivers are only allowed to drive for 8 hours a day.
Hmm.
So I imagine they would first implement charging at truck stops, these major truck stops where you stop and get something to eat or shower or do whatever. And while you're doing all that, your truck is charged. I imagine they'll first, then go on to other more quicker steps to for a quick charge.
Hmm. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I know in Europe, I know in China specifically, but in Europe they do have wireless charging on buses, right? So your metro buses have these overhanging devices that glide across the top of the bus as they pull over for a bus stop, and then it charges it really really quick. I think it gives it like maybe like 5% juice or something like that per stop.
Mm,
Um, that I know has already been in place, but when it comes to a truck, I don't know, man. You know,
yeah,
that's a big piece of infrastructure that needs to be turned over. I don't know if the United States is even capable of talking about something like this.
yeah. I would be interested to see solve this problem, but I have to admit the trucks look nice,
Yeah,
and
it does.
with the emissions that these trucks put out now, because that's like it. Trucks are the main way to transport goods across America, isn't it?
Hmm.
With that type of emission going coming out, and just the pure mechanical uh, upkeep, I would think the electric trucks would be better in terms of saving these independent truckers, money. Depending on, like we said, the infrastructure being put in place to keep these things charged.
Yeah, Paul Bryant in the chat has a question. He says, You covered in Africa laying infrastructure for wireless charging of vehicles in the ground. Would these trucks qualify for that? I don't know the capabilities of these trucks, Paul. From what I see, it sounds to me like these trucks have to be plugged in. Let me look at some of these pictures.
Yeah, and plus putting that type of infrastructure on American roads, that's a major feat.
Yeah, I don't see any other pictures, but from what I'm looking at right here, these trucks have to be plugged in, and the batteries are under the passenger side and the driver's side, from where the fuel tank would originally be for a diesel truck or a compressed natural gas (CNG) based truck. That that's where the batteries are. But how do you charge them, right? From what it looks like, you have to plug it in. But even if you do plug it in, um, you will probably need two chargers to it. 'Cause I know that's the way the Tesla the P90 Teslas. I think that's how they work. The P90 P100. So, but in Africa, wireless charging wouldn't work on something like this because it I don't think the truck is designed for that. Or then he asks, or is it cost prohibitively expensive here? It's a combination of things, Paul, because most of your gas stations can barely handle the full load of trucks that already come in there. Um, so what happens when you have to tear a gas station down? We had a gas station here locally that had to be updated, with new pumps and everything else. I think it took like 90 days, I want to say, maybe 40,
Wow.
40 45 to maybe 90 days to actually get,
Long time.
well, I mean, it's a big gas station, but they had to tear down, all the infrastructure inside and then pull the tanks out of the ground and so on and
Mm.
so forth. And, you know, this is the busy intersection. So this is just one gas station.
Now I wonder, will there still be electric? Well, I would say yes. Now that I'm saying it out loud, but I was going to say I wonder will gas stations in the future, but not gas stations. They'll be called electric stations where they'll still be in the same areas on the corner of a busy intersection where you can just pull up, charge up real quick in the same amount of time it were to take you to. And this is just in the future. I'm thinking about to fill up your gas tank with gas. I wonder, will the gas stations convert to electric stations?
They will. However, who's going to be able to use it, right? It's one thing for like a school bus. What do you call that? A van, right? So like your like the Waymo vans. That's one thing if those are electric and they come in. But if you have an 18 wheeler or a 50 footer, that's not going to work because who else is going to be able to use the the charging station if that big vehicle is in the way?
I know in Chicago we have both, trucks will pull up in those, but mainly trucks pull into well, there's gas stations that are bigger where
Mhm.
cars pull up to it, but still trucks that have a trucking area also. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. There's a lot of areas have it where trucks and cars pull up into these smaller gas stations. So some type of infrastructure will have to be thought of. Hey, I'm gonna take a 5 minute. I'll be mute for 5 minutes.
No, that's fine. Move on to the next article, anyways. I hope that answers your question, Paul Bryant. Let me see if I can go to this article here. All right, this next one is from Engadget.com. Whirlpool's new oven concept uses augmented reality to help you cook. It's a picture. All right, it says these days Whirlpool is more than just ovens and dishwashers. Over the years at CES, the appliance giant has proved it has some pretty serious tech chops as well. Earlier in the week, the company already announced that you can now control some appliances with a Wear OS device. Now it's getting ready to unleash a slew of new and improved gadgets for the home. One of the most intriguing by far is a connected hub wall oven concept that apparently uses augmented reality to help you out in the kitchen. Created by W Labs, Whirlpool's innovation incubator, the Whirlpool Connected Hub Wall Oven has a 27-inch transparent LCD screen on the front of on the front where a typical oven door would be. So you can still use it like a regular oven, but now you can also use it to view family calendars or check out a personalized recipe suggestion. According to Whirlpool, if it notices that there's only 45-minute window for a dinner, It'll suggest shorter, faster recipes too. And of course, it's smart enough to only recommend recipes that fit within the dietary restrictions. There's even step-by-step video instructions by Whirlpool's Yumily platform that you can watch directly on the oven screen. The whole augmented reality part of the equation comes in when cooking. If you if you're a novice, for example, the oven will provide instructions right there on the screen that on the screen on what rack to use or which cooking cycle. Or if you're following a step-by-step cooking guide provided by Whirlpool, it'll notify you right on the LCD screen. Hey, how you doing? So this is interesting. I'd be curious to know how they was able to get the transparent LCD outfitted to the oven itself, and how it's able to sustain so much heat. That's I've never heard of anything like that. I know you could do it on a fridge, obviously, but not on the oven. I mean, the oven goes up to 500, 450, 475 degrees Fahrenheit, 500 degrees. So putting a 27-inch transparent LCD interface on a oven be something I'm very curious about how they got to implement something like that. It was going on complex design. I'm just showing you the pictures of the oven. Also, the here's a picture of the washer dryer combo. This one has voice capabilities, Google Assistant. Very interesting. They're almost taking out the maid function, right? So typically back in the day, people used to have maids and butlers and things like that. But it seems to me that they're taking out the maid and butler function, the human element of it. I know. Do you have anything you want to add to this?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. Now I have a question for you. It seems like one of the things at CES this year was smart homes. You have smart appliances. Some seem niche. Some seem like okay, it's nice, but what's the major advantage to it? But it seems like one of the things for the home, the companies that produce products for the home was smart connectivity, smart home, assistant, geared applications, and so forth. I know this is the first year. It seems like the first year, first major year these things came up. But what do you think about this? This push towards smart home slash connectivity.
Well, that's always been the case because of the push for IoT, right? It was all about getting these devices connected to the internet. Uh, in doing that, you would need to make sure that everything in the house is actually um, connectable, right? So they have to have that interface, and if they don't, then you have to provide a sort of third party component that can actually make it smart. So that's why you had, if you look back in the day, right, there was something called a clapper, and you plugged in whatever device it was. It was a lamp, it was a fan, and you clap once, you clap twice, and it turn off, turn off. That was the first of your smart devices coming into play. It wasn't connected to the internet, but it was actually um, it had a specific algorithm, right? So if I clap once, it turns on. If I clap twice, it turned off, and so on and so forth. So the algorithms were being predefined back then to actually make everything smart.
Okay, yeah, you got a point with the clapper. Okay, okay.
Except in black households, because when people used to get beat, with the belt, yeah, everything, the lights going
Yeah,
on.
it sounds like you got experience in that.
Man, bamboo sticks, man.
Shoe, house shoes, cords, cable cords.
Yeah, but yeah, but that's why CES focuses on that so much, because it's consumer electronics, and everything in the house is consumer based. So um, they've all people have been trying, or I should say people, but companies have been trying to figure out, how do I connect everything in the house? And um, the first thing they figured out was your TV, right? So your smart TV, because the TVs were smart before. Yeah, the first thing they figured out was the smart TV, and then everything trickled down from there, because um, the amount of usage that you get out of a TV as opposed to anything else, right? Lights came second, like your Wi-Fi based lights and um, smart lights and stuff like that came second.
I gotta admit, they're doing a good job in cutting down the amount of things people would normally have in like their, say for instance, their entertainment system. Their designs are forcing people to redesign their home entertainment system design, or redesign their kitchen, or redesign this. I'll admit that they're doing a good job, a bang up job in that department.
Hmm. It's competitive now too, because it's not just Samsung. I mean, Samsung is the big brand that pushes all of their connected devices. But you have LG, you have Whirlpool, you have um, Philips, and all these other companies now coming on um, with their devices too. So how are these devices going to interact and play with no, third party brands, right? If I have a Samsung TV and I have an LG DVD Blu-ray player, what's going to happen now? How do I make these work?
Yeah.
So there needs to be a coupling. There needs to be a coupling of these all of these IoT devices. Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
no one really has figured it out how to get these devices to talk to each other, because there's no common language. Everything is proprietary, right? Your Samsung OS on your TV is proprietary, and then your LG Blu-ray player is proprietary, and now you have your Google Home and your Amazon Alexa. Those things are somewhat proprietary in their design. So that's the next step, is how do I connect them all together?
Now, Paul Bryan said the wealthy had total home audio, video, lights and doors, and HVAC and security control in one device for the 1980s. And I agree with that. If you look at old videos of the lifestyles of the rich and famous,
Mhm.
they will show you that. But I would say that the technology that these companies are coming out with, slimming down the technology, it's making it more affordable for not just the rich and wealthy, and it's allowing you to have more space in your room, or in your home, because you don't need these extra systems to allow um, these devices to talk to each other, or these specialized systems. They only do one thing.
Yeah, but in reference to what Paul is saying, in the 1980s, those devices weren't connected to the internet. What we're focusing on right now is Internet of Things, right? So these devices actually connect out.
Mm.
And plus, there's no wires, right? So now everything's wireless. Back
Oh,
then, what Paul was referring to, everything being centralized. The difference here is that these items are actually decentralized, right? These IoT devices actually have been decentralized. So,
I think that wire problem that's been solved was just as much of a problem than having these bulky entertainment unit centers.
hmm
Because you had wires everywhere. You had HDMI cords, you had cable cords, and all these things. But now you have these. They are racetracks, but they these cord tracks that'll hide the wires, and it makes everything looks neat.
oh yeah, 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 definitely. eh, HDMI, the next iteration of HDMI allows for networking capabilities. So now you can have your cable box basically connect right up to your router
Mm,
because it has networking capabilities. The next iteration of HDMI I'm referring to.
okay, okay.
All right, well, let's move on to the next article. All right, this one's from Engadget.com. This smart mirror uses AR AR to let you try on different hairstyles. Interesting. We've seen a slew of smart mirrors get introduced over the past few years, including one from Panasonic, that's designed to analyze your skin. But for CareOS, a company based out of Europe, it wants to make an entire connected platform for the home and beauty salons out of its Artemis smart mirror. The, the mirror uses augmented reality to do to do things like try on a variety of hair colors on you hair colors on your. Yes, this is grammatically wrong. On you, which would come in handy before you decide to get a makeover. It can also integrate the brands to let you decide. It can also integrate with brands to let you buy facial cream, as well as show you video tutorials on how to apply the makeup you're buying. Yeah, I'm not entirely sold on this. They haven't tried it on African Americans or Black people, so we can't really tell what it's going to say. You know, I mean, we know that there's racist algorithms in place for how it deals with certain ethnicities of people with these mirrors and these cameras. So,
Now, I like this not because of the fashion, but because it can detect problems in your health and tell you to call your physician. It was saying that between the article and the video, it was saying that changes in your eyes, changes in just your overall body appearance, height, slouching, things of that nature. I like it because of those features. With the makeup and stuff. Okay, la di da, that's nice. I'm sure hotels and beauty salons are going to have a field day implementing this into their business. But as far as the health, I think that is a that's something where if this was produced, that it can really be helpful.
mhm. Yes, but I have my qualms about it because what happens when somebody like Tiffany Haddish shows up and because she has a mole on her face, it assumes that it's a pimple and that it prescribes some kind of Neutrogena acne clearing cream. I think that's be pretty assaulting, right?
Yeah, it
Um,
is.
or what happens when you have a woman who might be biracial but has freckles, and it assumes that she has some form of measles or something. I just think that this stuff is only tested on pale skinned people, and it's not really tested on melanated people enough to actually get accurate description on how it actually works, how efficient it is.
Now, that would open up the door for people just like the phones. Where remember a while ago we were discussing how China was um, selling phones in Africa that is for that region for that continental geographic area. Um, it'll open up the door for Black people to actually not code for them, but do their own version where it will say, okay, we their base of people that the mirror is looking at, where they derive their information from, is Black people.
I know you did.
Yeah, yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Same thing for black men, with thick beards. He might tell you to go get a shave or something like that.
Or if you take your hat off and it fires up, you got a ring word.
It might confuse waves, a low cut Caesar in waves as male baldness or something like that. It's kind of alopecia, and it's not necessarily true because that's just the way black people's hair grows.
Yeah, yeah. True points. True points.
Mm. All right, let me get to the next one. All right, this one is from Forbes.com. The new Impossible Burger 2.0 won everyone's mouth at CES 2019, but that's just the beginning. Man, these pop-ups, man. Last Tuesday, American company Impossible Foods presented its new plant-based Impossible Burger 2.0 at CES, the popular consumer electronics show that takes place yearly in Vegas. Today, CES in 2019 is wrapping up, and according to many, the Impossible Burger 2.0, the, the Impossible Burger 2.0 is the undisputed winner. It doesn't matter. The LG showcased a mind-blowing rollable TV. Journalists are still saying that the best technology of this year's edition has been a vegan patty of fake meat that's quite impressive. Tech publisher Digital Trends, for example, named the Impossible Burger 2.0 top tech of CES 2019, with emerging tech editor Drew Prindle defining its triumph of food engineering. Similarly, technology technology blog Engadget awarded the vegan patty the title of most unexpected product, with senior editor Nicole Lee celebrating it as a burger that could truly wean people off of their meat lust. In general, the burger won everyone's heart and, what's most important, mouth. In the word of CNET's Dara Kerr, if the Impossible Burger 1.0 tastes like, quote, an okay sizzler steak, the 2.0 version is more like a well massaged Kobe ribeye. In the United States, the new burger will be first rolled out in a few high end restaurants, and from early February in all Impossible Foods partner restaurants. Unfortunately, the Impossible Burger, even its 1.0 version, has yet to make it across the pond. Beyond the U.S., it's intended and distributed just in Hong Kong and Macau. So I'm not a big burger eater, but I know what's your take on this?
I saw a video. I think it was on their yeah, it was on their website where they showed step by step how they made it. Um, at least per the video, they didn't add any um, un or they didn't add any ingredients that you can't pronounce. It's pretty straightforward. Um, if this is what that video say it is, well, in terms of the ingredients, I'm okay with it. But you have these other uh, food like foods out here that have so much scientifically made ingredients in it where you me myself personally, I believe you better off just eating the real thing. um Per this place's video, Impossible Burgers video on their YouTube channel, they use a lot of vegetables and things to get the consistency of the burger, so I will have to test it out. I went on their website. I'm guessing that they part of a White Castle. I don't know if you all have White Castle in the Northeast, but they partnered with White Castle. I wouldn't mind testing it out. Everybody said it was delicious. Last year they hit a display, which was they said everybody said it was all right, but this year people were saying, "Oh, they stole the show. It's so delicious." I wouldn't mind testing it out to see, but I'm not a I don't eat burgers like that, but I thought that because I heard so much talk about this throughout the videos and articles that I read, um, it was interesting.
Yeah, I tried different vegan patties before, and to be honest with you, they kind of smell when I cook them. So I was pretty turned off by them, and they're very expensive.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, the vegan sphere has a uphill climb. I even had vegan mayonnaise, and it's we're coming from uh our baseline is real food. We know how real food tastes, so they're trying to mimic that. Uh,
well, they
yeah,
have to. They have
yeah,
to in order to get people to adopt it, right?
yeah. So now that's not to say some vegan things are not good, but it's just specifically the ones that try to beef and cheese, or beef, not cheese, but beef, chicken, fish. When you're trying to mimic that, it's hard. And from what I've seen so far, the stuff they put in in these things to mimic it, you better off just eating the real thing.
Yeah, what I found in my experience of eating vegan patties, is that I tend to be hungry like within 45 minutes again, or an hour at least. Whereas if I ate an actual real burger, I'm good for a couple hours, right? So
Yes.
it's one of those things. I don't know, man. Like I guess you have to eat twice as much, to get the same amount of fulfillment.
But if you got to eat twice, but I understand what you're saying. I agree. But let's say a person twice as much, then you got to weigh it out. Well, I have to eat twice two of these, eat one of these. Am I eating more calories? Will I gain more weight? To help the health side of it.
Yeah, we'll have to do a vegan hangout. See what happens. This next one is from TheVerge.com. Samsung's 75-inch micro LED 4K TV is a huge step into the future. After introducing an enormous micro LED TV called the Wall at last year's CES, Samsung has returned in 2019 with a smaller 75-inch 4K TV that's a far more practical fit for the living room. It uses the same micro LED foundation as the Wall, combining individual tiles of self self-emissive micro LEDs, featuring millions of inorganic red, green, and blue microscopic LED chips that emit their own own bright light to produce brilliant colors on screen. There's no backlight required, so micro LED displays can be incredibly thin. With the bigger appeal of the micro LED picture quality that should rival or beat OLED without any of the pitfalls using organic compound, that's what the O in OLED stands for, after all. In theory, micro LEDs should deliver perfect blacks. All of the microscopic LEDs can be turned off individually, best in class brightness, and an incredibly wide HDR color palette without burning, and hopefully with a significantly longer lifespan than OLED panels, since there's no natural degradation to worry about. I'm not a big fan of Samsung TVs, to be quite honest, but I really don't have, a bit of a dog in this fight. What's your take on this, Leno?
Um, I don't have any preference in terms of brand wise for TVs, but this I like this. They it's modular. They put a different spin on the technology. They have limits in terms of evolution. The things you can do with it. They put a new spin on it. Last year they had the Wall, which really a big TV. Um, this is modular. You can put new, or you can add on the sides by putting LED panels on it. Also, it was a video they had. It's floating around, but the big, it was the Wall, Samsung Wall, where it was a very large TV, but it it was set up where, how am I trying to say it was set up where on projected like pictures on the wall, uh like a fireplace and so forth, and it made it look like the actual TV was small, but the whole, it looked real, but the whole setup was the TV itself. I like that twist on the did this year at CES. That's not to say that this will actually come out. It may or may not. We don't know, but I like that they were thinking of different ways, thinking out the box. Yeah, that's about it.
All right, we'll move on to the next one then. All right, this next one is from Engadget.com. Arroyo built the world's first foldable phone. Samsung has great ambitions for its forthcoming foldable phone, but China's Royole somehow beat the tech titan and everyone else to market. Here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. Despite working on rollable, bendable, flexible screens since 2012, hardly anyone saw Royals push into the smartphone market coming. To hear to hear founder and CEO Bill Lu tell it, though, that was exactly how he wanted it. Lu joined us at our CES stage to discuss what it was like for his company, mostly known for for screens to start working on a smartphone. So I'll let the video play. But what's your take on this? I know
You got to admit, this is impressive.
it is.
Yeah, to me, this is impressive.
They I mean, well, I don't know the reliability on something like this, but this is probably something that Apple wanted to do, right? Um, if they could, but a small company from China beat them out. So
Yeah. Now, aside from the mechanics that can be, mess things up, um, it looks like it was a X bar in the back holding it, and there was some panels in the back making it rigid. Aside from the mechanics that can mess up, just having a foldable TV with that type of clarity is impressive. You know, you know, with their TVs in awkward locations in a house, but this is impressive to me.
yeah, I think you're going to see more of the technology get applied in certain places, like the ability to wear a certain type of T-shirt and have this, foldable screen on your T-shirt, right? Um, or maybe not a T-shirt. Let's say a hoodie or something like that. That could be a game changer if your intention is to sell clothes and sell the technology with it. And somebody who has a favorite hoodie has this sort of screen built onto their sleeve, or it's on the it's on the breast part of the hoodie. That could be a really game changing sort of product.
Mhm. Yeah, TVs as we know them, I think they reached their limit. So now they're it's ironic, they build them big, build them bigger, 75, 98 inches big, cover your entire wall in your home. Now I think you'll see them build them smaller, just so just so they can put them in areas where they'll have more eyes. Hmm.
I can see a good military application for it as well. I mean, soldiers in the field who need to know what the drone sees and can actually look at their wrist and have this nice size screen on their camo gear.
Like
And
quarterbacks have the plays on their wrists, but
correct.
in military they had an actual screen. Yeah, that's a nice application.
All right, let's get to the next one. All right, this one is from Samsung. You want a sleek, sophisticated desk that reflects your clean and modern lifestyle, but your desktop is constantly cluttered. What if you could have a wide monitor taking up almost no space with no messy cables? Now, Samsung introduces the new space-saving monitors that enhance work efficiency by increasing usable desk space. When you aren't using your monitor, store it flat against the wall to boost productivity and reclaim your desktop. Yeah, you have to have some kind of OCD to want something like that.
Really? You think
Yeah,
so?
because you're making a big sacrifice, right? You're buying a monitor just basically to keep your desk clean, but at the same time, it doesn't it doesn't have the latest features, right? It's not like a wide, it's not like a curved monitor, right?
Hmm.
It doesn't have all the low response time and things like that for gaming and stuff like that. It's really just for keeping the
Space.
office, yeah, keeping the space neat, and it's like that you're making a big sacrifice with that.
I thought it was pretty cool. And for those specific reasons, all the clutter just off your table. Now you can, well, now that I'm saying is, I think if a person who buys this, opposite may happen. They may put more stuff on their desk, but it's a nice idea. Now we talk about this, it is kind of novice without the new text and features and specs. It is novice. It, yeah, now that we talk about this like a regular computer monitor, but just with that gimmick.
Hmm. All right, this is the last one. This is from TheVerge.com. So smart home fancy doorbells. Let's go over this one. The Netatmo smart video doorbell. French company Netatmo debuted a smart video doorbell with two very useful features to set it apart. It's the first video doorbell that's compatible with Apple HomeKit, and it uses a micro SD card for video storage so that saving and recording video doesn't require you to pay for a subscription. I like that. Casa Smart Video Doorbell. TP-Link has TP-Link made a Casa doorbell that has a 2K HDR camera, which is a step above most doorbell cameras that usually top out at 1080p. It uses facial recognition to differentiate family from strangers. Unfortunately, it's a wired doorbell, so setting it up might be more of a hassle. It's set to ship sometime this year, and pricing is still unknown. The Ring doorbell view cam. This doorbell actually goes on over your peephole, which has been pretty rare among smart doorbells. It opens Ring's product lineup to even more homeowners and renters. The camera can also sense knocks on the door and send you a notification. It costs the same as the previous flagship Ring doorbells, $199, and it will ship sometime this year. Maximus dual cam video doorbell. Maximus made one of the first dual camera video doorbells. It shows a top and bottom view of visitors, supposedly covering a blind spot that other doorbells might have. It also works with both Google Assistant and Alexa because that's what the customers want. Mark Honeycutt, CEO of GOI Technology, which makes Maximus doorbells, told me it should be available later on this year. So I think this next one is most colorful smart light, Nanoleaf hexagon lights. These hexagon lights from Nanoleaf changes colors from up to 16.7 million colors and have different modes that react to sound or touch. Would I fill up my bedroom with these? Probably not. But non but they look great on the wall behind RGB gaming PC. Nanoleaf told me that the pricing was still being worked on, but we can expect it to be similar to the company's Canvas lights, 15, 15 towers for roughly $400. The smart lock with the most features, Lockley Secure Pro. Lockley Secure Pro Smart Lock has 5 different ways of unlocking: fingerprint scanner, voice assistant command, the app, a physical key, and the keypad. The big draw is the keypad, which which is able to conceal your passcode by having you press multiple numbers at a time. It's almost like T9 texting, where 5 represents JKL. It's a setup that it's set up so that even if someone stands next to you, they likely couldn't guess your password. The lock supports Google Assistant and Alexa. It costs $2.99 and should ship within the next 2 months. That's interesting. Yeah, I think we covered all. Oh, here we go right here. Kohler's Numi 2.0 intelligent toilet. Forget the foldable phones and 8K TVs. This is likely this year's clear winner at CES. Jokes aside, this smart toilet is Alexa enabled and is supposed to smoothly open up remotely. On the side, on the side is an ever-changing smoky ombre light, so you can set the mood. While surround sound speakers play bird noises to emulate being in the midst of nature while you're taking nature's call. Ridiculous as it may be, it's a good reminder that smart home products can truly come from all places, with companies old and new. I won't read the rest of it, but this it doesn't really go into. It's supposed to be an intelligent toilet. I
Mm-hmm.
thought the whole purpose of a toilet was to disflush, right? I mean,
Hey, hey, I mean, there's a limit to some things, and they got to start put gimmicks on it to say it's intelligent.
I mean, if I'm looking at this intelligent toilet, I'm like, who gives a shit? I know you're
Yeah,
terrible.
it's like a limit, man. It's like, okay, what can you do? I'm okay, okay, like the Japanese did the bidet thing. All right,
Hmm.
that was cool. Well, I never sat on one, but it, I, I heard it's cool. It caught on all that, but other than that, low flow, high flow, what? It's a limit.
Now, if it used like some kind of like Wi-Fi connection to determine how many gallons you flushed and so on and so forth, if it calculated that that sort of data, then that might be one thing. But to call it intelligent, where's the intelligence here? I mean, to be quite honest with you, just looking at it just pisses me off. Drum roll, I know, drum roll.
Hey, I mean, okay, see, okay, with all there's the good, like wow, like the Uber taxi, but then at the other end you have these things like, oh, okay,
Hmm.
they let you in here, huh? Okay,
Hmm.
you know, but uh, I guess at least they thinking.
Yeah, if they could figure out a way to like I said, turn waste into energy or you know, renewable substance, and that might be worthy of a discussion.
Yeah, yeah, man. CES. I want Matt going to one though.
Yeah, you got to book your tickets in advance. I think like a year in advance.
Yeah, because everybody's there.
Yeah, that stuff sells out before months be- months before it even hits. You know, as soon as they post it, it's like almost pretty much sold out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There was so many YouTubers there. The obviously the major tech YouTubers there. So many companies. Just yeah, yeah. It get crowded pretty fast.
Yeah. So out of all the items, I mean, what was your primo choice?
I like the I like some of the TVs. I I like the things that you can that I like the things that are coming out this year. Not, oh, this is what we can do. I like the modular TV. I like that. I like the foldable TV, but just a regular TV with the features, clear screen, crisp. After a while, the colors are just too bright for me. It's like, wow, it's too bright. Gotta tone it down. I like obviously the taxi thing. I like that's the future because that's what we talk about a lot here. Um, the refrigerator, I would even mm, the convection oven is the last thing, and that incredible burger is something I'll have to try. Yeah. What about yourself?
I think that I like the Samsung refrigerator,
Mm-hmm.
and I like the LG washing machine.
Okay.
I thought the oven was a bit of a gimmick. I don't know anybody who sits in front of the oven and does that much.
There much interaction. Yeah.
Yeah, that sort of interaction is not really there like that.
Yeah. I can see what you're saying there. People are so busy today. They not too many people sit there and interact.
I mean, the idea of a stay-at-home mom, maybe that's like
Yeah.
too late for that.
Oh yeah. A couple decades with this Me Too stuff. Yeah. Too late for that, brother.
Yeah, that's over and done with. I just don't see that being all that enticing. Even if you live in a tiny house, right? If you live in a tiny house, I don't see me personally. I don't spend that much time in the kitchen. I'm in the kitchen for maybe 15 minutes and I'm done. Like I already kind of know what I want and I already know what I'm gonna do. So I'll turn it. I'll preheat the stove, turn it on, and I'm going back. I'm back to whatever else I was doing. And the thing is, they're predicating this on the idea that uh, people don't know how to cook. I guess.
Well, nowadays, women don't know how to cook.
Well, some people. Like, I mean, we're. I mean, you have like Uber Eats now. That's how people eat now. That's how people order their food. And then you have Amazon Go, and then you have um, what's Whole Foods Instacart, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
People are pretty much that's how they live.
I ain't gonna lie. A good home cooked meal, man. Oh man, that's. I don't think that's ever gonna change. I understand you have these apps and services out here, but a good home cooked meal, that's not gonna change.
But how do you know what a good home cooked meal is if you can't cook?
You better learn. That's why they making these devices so you learn.
I
But
don't know. I don't know, man. That seems like there's a conflict in apps and services and delivery. People are eating out more, mostly because they're working longer hours too.
yeah, yeah, you have a point. You have a point. Phew. Something will have to give, and it looks like these services are going to give because people got to live, so they are going to select the easiest way that will allow them to work longer hours, which is ordering out and Uber Eats and Postmates and stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah, and the Grubhub. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And then you have some of these meal prep services too, like Blue
Blue
Apron.
Apron. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Blue Apron.
It's a couple of them. It's cut like two or three more. But yeah, yeah, yeah. I've tried them. Even me, I eat. Look at me. I wouldn't mind trying one, but still, like I was a cook, and I know, home cooked meal is good for you.
Hmm.
It saves you money. With the Uber Eats, you got to pay that fee. Well, really, with any food delivery service, you got to pay that. You got to tack on top of. But it's
Hmm.
the environment, though. People working, but I still like a home cooked meal, me myself. Now, even me, by me saying I still like a home cooked meal, for for me to have that LED convection oven, I'm not gonna get that. I would more prone to get a that refrigerator, like a
Hmm.
big LED on top of a convection oven or a microwave door. Nah, it's not that serious.
I don't see how they can even do it because 450 degrees Fahrenheit is pretty hot. I mean, it's hot enough to burn you. So how are they able to keep the LCD from, not burning up over a
Mm,
period of time? I can only imagine that at some point it's going to degrade because regular
yeah,
TVs degrade, right? Regular monitors and phones and stuff like that, their screens degrade over time. So I don't want to
yeah,
have to replace my whole entire stove just because of an LCD. Like that doesn't fit.
yeah, yeah. That would be irritating. That would be wasted money because somebody got to come out and fix it. You can't take it to them, so you got somebody got to come out and fix it, and then and say, "Oh well, we got to take the whole door off." So you really ain't going to cars gonna cook. You really gonna be Uber eating it.
Hmm.
Yeah, prone for the refrigerator, but with a smart refrigerator, I would like um, for the intellect to be higher. Hey, you got uh, you going to the store, your milk is about 3 days from expiration date, and
Hmm.
it's about a smidge in there. So what you gonna do? Okay, yeah, yeah, I'm good with that.
Or your cheese.
Yeah.
The ability to reorder cheese and things like that.
Hmm.
Especially if it gets down to the one last slice. It's always that one person that got to eat. He's got to tear the cheese in half and then leave one little slice, one little strip of cheese left. Like that's not enough for no ham and cheese.
Yeah, it's not gonna do nothing.
Hmm.
Yeah, but that Uber bill taxi service, will I'm sure we gonna cover some of that in the future in our future space technology episodes. How not because it's not only them, it's a few more. It is they came up with that because they have a history of aeronautics, so they came up with that. But I'm sure we'll be reading and showing you all bringing other articles to you all about this as the time comes closer for the scheduled release.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's about it. CES 2019.
What would you have liked to see on there? Because
You know,
there's like 1,500 exhibitors there. I mean, I don't see why we only had narrowed it down to 12, but um, there's quite a few things there, like robots from China. What I've also read was because of the political turmoil between the United States and China, a lot of exhibitors didn't show up.
yeah, yeah, I can see that. So it wasn't as robust as it could have been.
Hmm.
Now, Alienware has something. The Alienware 51M is a gaming laptop that you can upgrade, where you can take apart and install upgraded hardware in.
Okay.
They had that there. Of course, it's a gaming computer. A gaming laptop's going to be expensive, but they had that there. I think it was one more thing. Oh, they had it was a motorcycle. Remember a while ago you had yeah. A while ago it was on the docket how China had this bike that biked itself. It could stay up, but that technology was put on a motorcycle. So it was just riding around the parking lot, turning, going in circles, stopping itself, putting the kickstand down.
Oh, you mean a self balancing bike?
Yes,
Self balancing, yeah.
yes, that was there. Man, it sounded like we were there. What? There's a few more things. You know, the TVs are always going to be there. The laptops, the different companies with laptops. Oh, that foldable phone from that company, Royal.
Hmm.
Now, I don't see myself using their Pacific phone, but to know that that technology is around the corner, and that technology, with the it being interwoven in clothing or any other useful devices, that type of flexible material for a screen, it's around the corner.
Hmm. That's going to be good for advertising, right? So you have a foldable screen on a piece of garment, and if you're an athlete, if you're the NBA, if you're the NFL,
Ooh,
imagine you having that advertisement playing on your back.
mm. And imagine like you have those still shots of somebody getting dunked on, somebody getting hit, and it's that perfect shot of that uh whatever advertisement is in it, because the like we stated before, the WNBA already have it, so
WNBA has what?
that their jerseys are advertisements.
Oh, the whole NBA and the NFL has it. Well, I
Hmm,
should say the NHL.
that's a good one.
Once they figure out how to put it on helmets, man, you put it on the side of a helmet.
Yeah, it's all right. But I don't know because that I would see that as distracting.
Distracting to who?
The players and the quarterback. I mean, I don't want to be looking at a football game, man. You got all these advertisements on the helmet, the jersey. It's too much. That would make me not want to look at football.
People already do that now, though, right? I mean, you have commercials that come on in, and they're annoying. Um,
But that's commercials, though. You can mute a commercial or go to the kitchen during the commercial because you already know it's 30 seconds. So,
yeah, but they have in-game commercials.
you talking about the commercial where the screen splits into two and
Yeah,
they
you
play
have
the commercial.
in-game commercials, and you have banner advertisements at the bottom.
I still want more looking at a football game where it's just commercials on the jerseys and movable commercials on the helmet. Some banner strolling around a helmet.
It may not be. It may not be on the player. It may not be on all the players. It may be just on the kicker.
Or the field goal post.
Well, not the field goal post, but the player itself, right? If it's going to be on a player, it's going to be on somebody who's more stationary, the designated hitter.
I guess I don't know. We'll see. We'll see
They,
when it
they,
comes.
yeah, they're looking to make profits. So I can see where all of these applications are going to be.
Yeah, I know they want that money. I understand that. It's just for me as a viewer, it's for me personally. There's a limit. It's too much going on.
Mhm.
I just want to see Tom Brady get knocked out. That's all. I don't want to see in the still is a an advertisement on the helmet as he going down. No,
It depends. It may turn back to a Patriots logo, right? If you're looking at something like that.
mm.
But these are just possibilities, right? I mean, we are
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
speculating, but
yeah. What's going on, Christian? How you doing? Nate, Damiette, Preem. What's going on, everybody? But yeah, CES is consumer electronics. I'm sure as the days in January, as more days, people are going to get their hands on actual products. Companies are going to send, especially these YouTubers, actual product. And I know Preem sent a email earlier of Marquez Brownlee doing the testing of that autonomous vehicle around Vegas from that Russian company Yanli. But that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think CES is really starting to. I mean, it's always been about gadgets, but it's starting to cross over into the vehicle segment now because most car companies are building gadgets now.
Hmm. Yeah.
Hmm.
What's going on, Logic Needed? Yeah. Yeah. What's the next convention? Isn't it the Apple W?
Mobile World Conference.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, that should be the next one.
Hmm. I don't
And
know,
then
man.
you have Intel Developers Forum, IDF.
I have to agree with you. I know you and I have to agree with you on the Apple thing. I think in the early part of the century, they were on something with the whole Apple ecosystem thing, with the
Hmm.
iTunes and things like that. But now it's a detriment now.
What do
Yeah.
you mean?
Well, with buying your music through Apple, your movies through Apple, that whole entire ecosystem. Not too many people still buy PCs more than they buy Macs. So the Apple ecosystem is hurting them more than it's helping them.
It, it's actually well, I don't know if I agree if it's hurting them. I think it was their only means of survival, right? There was no other way for them to. I mean, every platform has an ecosystem. Samsung, with the Galaxy, right? Google with their platform. Microsoft has their own ecosystem. So I think that's necessary for Apple to survive. Is to have a ecosystem. But I don't know if that's really the.
Part of the century, it was good. It helped them. But now, because they're so enclosed on themselves, they don't like open source. It seems like they contagious to it. It's hurting them because you got Android is open source. The whole stick with the Android device, it was open source. People can put apps and things on, but with iPhone and Apple, everything is encapsulated. Everything has to be improved by them. It's like it's hurting them.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. The limitations of being proprietary.
Right.
Yeah, it does. That's always been their problem, though, right? So the idea of the idea of opening up their platform is kind of far fetched to them because like opening it up would actually kill them. It will kill them
Right.
off.
And to give you an example with Google, you got the Google Docs. Good night. You that's good. That's good. You got the Google Docs. You got the spreadsheet, the Word. They know that Microsoft Office is king. Microsoft Office is going to be king for the foreseeable future. So why try to reinvent something that's working for not only consumers but for businesses? So what they did was they made a water of Microsoft Office. With Apple, they just did their own thing. You got Apple spreadsheets or Apple Docs, but it's not compatible if you doing it on your iPhone, but everything else is Microsoft or Google. You're trying to bring that stuff over. You limited. It's like, well, how can I bring this stuff over?
You mean Apple bringing it over or Microsoft
Well,
bringing it over?
a consumer say like I do a Word doc on a Apple's Word doc something, and I say, well, okay, this is good. Now I want to convert it over to um, Microsoft Office Word. Short of me having to copy everything and paste it over, and even in the bullet points or tab won't may not be correct. It's not a clean transition.
Well, I think Open Docs, which is the open source format actually allow for. Hold on a second.
I don't know, people in the chat room. It's been a good show tonight, like always, as always.
Yeah, you had open docs format, and that allowed for clean transition when you use Microsoft Office to Open Office and things like that. So you really didn't lose much in terms of transition. I agree that Apple was really in hardware driven closed ecosystem that kind of bid its time. It was only you're getting a lot of feedback on that.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, it was only a matter of time before the software caught up with the hardware. The thing about Apple is that they are product driven rather than application driven. Google focuses a lot on software, so that allows them to have a lot of more quick time of development. So they can put out updates to Android, they can put out updates to other platforms because it's very software driven and in a very DevOps way. Anybody who understands DevOps knows how fast of a transition you can have in terms of software development. Same thing
Now,
with Microsoft. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, it's the same thing with Microsoft.
No, I would say Apple can still regain their title as king, because with Android, you have these different hardware manufacturers. They put Android on their devices, but they put their version of Android on their devices. So, say Samsung Android is different from LG's Android software. So people may prefer Samsung versions over LG or any other company. Apple still have that loyalty to their brand. If they were to open up more, but still be in control and stop trying to gouge people on prices and nickel and dime people on features, and be that inventive company that they once were, and put out a feature that other phones don't have, then people will say, "Oh man, I'm gonna give me an iPhone," da 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 da. But where they were the first to do something, or not even the first to do something, they were the person to do it better. Now they just behind. They playing catch up now.
Because they lost their main innovator in chief, some time ago.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's the way the market is. It's very unforgiving of those who don't reinvent or can't innovate. So the thing about Apple is that they try to perfect everything, whereas Samsung has no problem dropping 20 phones a year. That's not a big deal for them. They can afford to do something like that because they're not beholden to these sort of metrics and culture that Apple is held to. That has really hurt Apple. I mean, a lot of people have been speculating, oh well, what's going to be the next big thing that Apple comes out with, but the way how it's been the last couple of years, I don't see them doing anything. And acquisitions are not something that Apple seems to be partly in favor of. Like, they don't really like big acquisitions. If Steve Jobs was alive, he would have never had made an acquisition of Beats. He would have just made a more competitive product.
After Apple killed off their iPod line, it was over.
Yeah, to me, that was stupid, right? The whole point of an iPod was to hold it for music, and then it became more about video too. And then you had the shuffle. The shuffle made sense because you just wanted something that played random tracks that were you considered to be your favorite. Mm-hmm. But had they played the game correctly, they would have just made their AirPods the shuffle itself.
That's a good point, because the shuffle was perfect. for working out. You know, it seemed like you didn't have to worry about dropping it, and for one, you clip it on your clothes.
Mhm.
The shuffle was perfect for working out. Then with, like you said, the ear pods. Hey, the design of the ear pods is not is so stupid. Why would you make something that drips down out your ear, knowing that holding people have problems holding the ear pods in their ear anyway. Now you're gonna make something that's bottom heavy, so it'll pull out your ear more. You should have made those things, those in ear components where it looks like a stud coming out the ear. Those are better.
Oh, you mean a canal based phones?
Yes, those ear pods. Those designs are so stupid. I mean, at, at least make it more. At least make it better by coming out with a matte black version. Then people will say, okay, I'll get one because of the color. But my God, Apple, what in the world are you thinking?
They're not thinking. That's really the problem. Um, they're there has to be, justification for putting out a new phone. So, they kind of put the software updates on these old phones, and then it runs slow, doesn't really charge the battery, it's out of warranty. So therefore, you have to go out and go get a new phone. But if that's going to be the case, the new phone better be better than the last one. And I don't think that face unlock is actually something that is revolutionary. You could
No,
do
it's
that.
not.
You could do that on any Android phone now.
And that's what happened to me. I had a six, and by the end of my contract, I I couldn't hold a charge throughout the day. And I'm not a heavy cell phone person. I'm not on the internet all the time and dipping in and out of Wi-Fi. I'm not that type of person. I need it for calls. I like the smartphone aspect as an option, but phone calls and maybe if I gotta look up something every now and then, but that's not even every day. And by the end of the day, I'm coming home and I'm looking at the charge number and it's on power save mode and it's dropping from 18, 17, 16. I'm like, God, what the fuck, Apple?
Hmm.
So I got to get a whole new phone because whatever you didn't put on my phone is making my phone a brick now. So I got to spend more time. Well, spend more money. I upgraded to an 8, but only only thing that I liked about the 8 was the more battery storage capacity. That's it. That's it.
I think we're moving to a segment where the typical phone is just going to be it's more of an accessory for video content than it is for anything else. Um, we talked about this on the Hangout before, but um, I foresee Apple moving their iPhone to the smartwatch. They have to miniaturize it because if you look at the evolution of iPod Classic, the iPod Classic went from just being able to play music tracks to a full fledged iPod that can play video and so on and so forth. And then it went from video to the iPod Shuffle, right? So the iPod Shuffle was like the last thing revolutionary about the iPod. And when you think about the iPhone, it was bulky, then it became really slim, and then it got really big to keep up with Samsung's Galaxy Note. And now, what would be the next step to it? It can't fold, and even if it could fold, that kind of goes against Apple's cultural principles, right? Um, so the next best thing it would be for a 5G watch that actually allows you to make phone calls off of it, and potentially probably be bigger, right? Have a nice sort of screen that you can actually watch some form of video or pictures on it.
Mm-hmm. When Apple took the headphone jack off their phones, I think that itself made the first detractors leave. The detractors leave when they took the headphones off, the headphone jack. First, because at first what they did, they moved the headphone jack from the top to the bottom. So people was like, okay, yeah, it's kind of awkward. I'll still rock with it. And sometimes it was even better. What in some situations it was even better. But when they took the headphone jack off, that's when the first wave of detractors left. And that Mac Mini, I've never since that Mac Mini been out and invented, I've never heard people say, "Oh, I got a Mac Mini," or that Apple TV. "Oh, I got an Apple TV." Those are very niche products, in my opinion, from a company that already make products that have a niche following. Those in itself. Then you have no the Amazon Fire Stick. You have all these other devices that play that reach a broader audience that gets people not even thinking about the Apple TV or the Mac Mini or whatever. So you that those devices are not making you a ton of money. Then you up the price on your MacBook, the MacBook Air, the Air, whatever it's called. It costs as much as the MacBook cost years ago, and a MacBook costs more now. So you're upping the price on your devices on an already niche following. You know that those these are not good moves, Apple. Not good moves at all.
The thing about the Mac Mini was that it was supposed to be a more value based Mac. I did not see the value in that. As an IT person, there was really no value in it at all. I can get a desktop PC at half the price. Like what was the value of that?
Yeah.
When it comes to the uh, when it comes to the iMac, I think the iMac made sense as an all-in-one, but it was also very expensive in comparison to something like a Dell, similar Dell or HP product. That didn't cost a lot. Like you got your money's worth out of that. For example, I bought a Lenovo for my mom about a year or so ago. Um, it's an all-in-one. It looks like an iMac, or at least an older iMac, and that thing still works perfectly fine. Doesn't need any updates. Doesn't well, you need the Microsoft software updates, but it's not it's not unusable. Um,
Mm-hmm.
all you need to do is check email. All you need to do is look at YouTube once or twice a week. Get on Facebook. I paid $100 for that thing on Groupon.
You know what? There's companies making Apple products for cheaper. Apple like products like Samsung, the Lenovo, these other companies. They're making Apple like products but cheaper.
Hmm.
So I would agree with the Apple all in one because the screen was beautiful, but it just was overpriced. And the iPad had some steam behind it, but now it's overpriced. It's losing steam. Trying to gouge people for things that they can get somewhere else for the very same things they're trying to gouge people for. They can get somewhere else, but with more features and less price. You're paying for Apple's brand at this point. That premium, you're paying for their brand. That's a brand premium tax that you're paying. And I have an Apple iPhone, but my next phone Apple because I'm tired of them nickel and diming me on features. You know, it's ridiculous. Even my sister, she has the Apple 10 or X, whatever you want to call it. She said, when she speak to her friends say, "Oh, you don't got this? Oh, your phone do this?" She say, "You know what? I'm not. I pay all. Only thing you giving me is a animal avatar for a face. No, uh, uh."
Yeah, I think people pay for the experience, and I think that experience is wearing off now. You can see it. You can see the amount of sales that Huawei is having, Samsung is having, Xiaomi, another brand out of China that's actually doing well. Um, OnePlus as well. OnePlus is another emerging Chinese brand that's having record sales. It's just one of those things. Like what exactly does your iPhone really do for you at this point, outside of having a cracked screen and a low battery? You're really not getting your money's worth. I think people are afraid to let go because they think that the Android is really complicated. In reality, it's not.
I like Apple because it's the simplicity, but that simplicity costs. You're not giving me nothing over and above to justify that cost. You just saying we're Apple. You should buy it because of us. No,
Hmm.
do something. They can do something.
Now, moving on. What'd you think about Saturday's hangout?
Oh, if I the freaking parrot went out here. If I would have read the art, well, I have an understanding of what IoT is anyway. It was good. It was I think it cleared up what people who may listen to that. It cleared up what if they didn't know what IoT is because the name IoT isn't self-explanatory. So you listen to that and you'll get a really good understanding of what IoT is. And from there, we talked about, well, you all mainly talked about the applications of IoT and listening. It's almost like listening to that and then listening to this and us going over these uh, appliances. People will say, "Oh, okay, that's so." Yeah, that really helped people under that show. Really helped people understand what IoT is, B, the applications of IoT, and well, see the use cases of IoT, and D, even the more widespread use cases for IoT.
Decentralized applications as well.
Yeah, these DApps, smart contracts. The Young Grizzly and Complex were talking about the smart contracts. For smart contracts to become smarter, I believe that you need a DApp to interface with um, the code. So, like I said, Saturday smart contract is an then, if this then that. If you have a DApp and you saying, well, me and such, we want this. So the code will tell you or ask you, well, what do you want? Well, not the code. The DApp will ask you, what do you want? What are your wanted out? What is your wanted outcome? And other things that will lead up to that outcome. Well, what does the person do this? You would that would allow people that don't know how to code to make an agreement between two or more people. Let's say two people, instead of physically writing the code down in Python. Well, if this then that, uh, line by line. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a ecosystem that goes with this. If that makes any sense, you have the IoT itself, which is the device, and then you factor in it needs some form of medium of communication, which would be the blockchain, um, which has, and then you factor in it needs a application to drive it, which would be the D app itself, and then you take into consideration some of the cloud functionality, which would be the service delivery point.
Mm-hmm. And And I know where you're going with that. I know where you're going with that. The blockchain will be an enabler for a lot of these technologies to go to build on top of. Like you said, communicate. Blockchain will be an enabler for IoT. Blockchain will be an AI. Blockchain will be an enabler for autonomous vehicles or smart cities and so forth. Blockchain will be the base technology for all of these other technologies to flourish and do what they are designed to do.
Right, and then you have to take into consideration. I think we only went over it briefly, which was containerization, containers, microservices.
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure how familiar you were with those, but
No.
I make sure that I think we'll probably come back and do another hangout on just microservices and containers.
Okay. Yeah, I will have to read up on that. Yeah. Yeah, that was hangout.
And you can certify in some of these areas. So like blockchain, you can get certification in that. Um, Cloud, you can get your certification in that. Um, IoT, not so much.
Yeah.
IoT, it's more about what the target environment is going to be. So if you're working in gas and electric,
Specialized.
yeah, gas
Yeah.
and electric, it's proprietary to those environments.
Hmm. But it's a lot of environments though, and those environments those environments overlap with other environments. But you have to learn how to code. And with blockchain, I see as we go over more and more of these technologies, we see the the value of becoming certified in coding and so forth, because blockchain becomes blockchain flourishes when it's used with something else. You know, putting your records, cities putting their records on a blockchain. Estonia, the country Estonia, blockchain is flourishing there because it's used for something. It's used in tandem with something. It's not. It doesn't need to be used in tandem with everything, but when it is used in tandem with something, it flourishes.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What's going on, complexes on?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Abs-
I think traditional IT will go away. The idea of going to Geek Squad and fixing your computer and um, you know just sitting around and using Microsoft Word, that form of IT is going to go away. You're going to see a more in chain, service chain of components and things like that are going to be involved in terms of the new wave of IT, the new generation of IT.
hmm
So you're gonna have to know all these things and know at least one language, right? C plus plus, Python, C, Go, Ruby,
Yeah.
Java, Java,
Yeah. And those who learn it now, they are going to be ones that are going to be hired in the future.
or higher this year.
Yeah. Good point.
There is no future with this. This is like either you know it now or you just don't know it.
All right.
But Yeah, I think this next hangout is going to be on Saturday is going to be even better. Kind of changes it up. We're going to be focusing on agricultural tech, so agri-tech and cannabis.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Complex. Let's see. That's his time to shine.
If he's available for it. So
Yeah, yeah. I forgot he's in California.
yeah, yeah. If you have nothing else to add, we can close it out for tonight.
Yeah, I have nothing else. Thank you all for stopping by.
All right, we'll be back for geopolitics Wednesday, episode 127. Right?
I think it's 130. Yeah, yeah, yeah. 127. You're right. You're right. My bad.
Get your math right, man.